had Goodreads for probably a year and a half now, and I've like never clicked on the Discover page. I don't have a good reason as to why, I just didn't. When I accidentally clicked on Discover and saw there's like a little category that's trending with Goodreads members, I obviously clicked on it, and these 2 books were on there, so of course I have to read them, right? There is also another part of the page that says most read this week, and this book was in that section. So in this spoiler-free reading vlog, I'm going to be reading some of the most trending books according to Goodreads at the moment. The first book I will be reading is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I've been seeing this book everywhere, and I actually have to read it for my book club. Alrighty, let's get reading. I'm 100 pages into Divine Rivals, and I absolutely adore it already. So this is very much just like a super cute and cozy fantasy. It's not very high stakes like at all, and I don't mind that. But our main characters like type on typewriters. They write these letters and then slide them under doors, and then they appear in like a different spot. There's like subtle bits of magic in this world, so it honestly gives a little bit of like magical realism and not necessarily like fantasy, but I still just really like it. The vibes are so cute. So the 2 main characters are rivals because they're like both competing for the same job. They're like journalists for like a newspaper, and they like both want that promotion. I feel like I haven't read a book like this before, and I'm just really enjoying it, and now I just want to look for more like cozy fantasy vibes instead of like reaching for like high stakes fantasy. Anyway, I'm gonna continue reading. I'll check back in later. It's been a couple of days, and I don't remember the last time I filmed, so here's my little check-in. I'm on page 229, and I've been tabbing, but I just love the way these characters interact with each other. It's just so cute and comforting. Even though they're going through situations that are not cute and comforting, I absolutely adore everything happening. Like, This book feels like a nice warm hug. Like, I feel like this is just a great fall read. So this is the first book in what will be a series, and I just hope it doesn't end on a cliffhanger because the next book isn't out yet, and I'm on a book buying ban. I think the next book comes out in like November, and my ban is lifting around like Christmas time. So let's just hope that this doesn't end on a cliffhanger for my sake. That was a roller coaster. This was an absolute roller coaster. You know, this was very wholesome until it wasn't. That was good. That was very good. I feel like I'm gonna be just like thinking about this for a long time. 5 stars. Ooh. And I'm gonna talk about this in my book club, and if there are people in my book club that say they don't like the book, I am no longer going to be attending. I think this book came out in April, and the second book comes out in November. That is such a quick turnaround time, which is like incredible, and more authors should do that. So now I'm gonna try to move on. So we're picking up The Brothers Hawthorne. Everyone is calling this like a spin-off series to the Inheritance games, but like Goodreads says this is book 4, and I didn't realize it was like a spin-off thing. I guess the trilogy is supposedly like the romance part, and then this is a spin-off series that focuses more on the brothers and less on like the love triangle, which that was like not even the main focus of the Inheritance games. Love did not become a thing until like the second book, and I feel like the love wasn't even like that big of a plot line. But I gave the first 2 books in the series 5 stars and the third one 4. So I'm like excited to get back into the series because I know I'm gonna like it. And it's great. I really like how fast-paced like Jennifer Lynn Barnes's books are. I think she keeps them very entertaining. So I'm gonna get started. I don't really know too much about what happens in here. I just know that it's in Grayson and Jameson's point of view. Let's get started. I went to book club. So in book club, we discussed Divine Rivals. I loved this book, loved the vibes, you know? The whole entire time I'm reading this, I'm like, yeah, this is it. This is it for me. This is incredible. And the people in book club did not agree. And, you know, I feel like once someone points out a flaw in a book, everyone else is going to agree and start pointing out other flaws in the book. And you know what? I wish they didn't do that, because then I would have just been oblivious to any flaw and I would have been like, this is perfect. This is the most perfect book out there. But no, they had to be like, there's this issue in the book. That didn't make sense. This didn't make sense. Blah, 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 blah. It's fiction. One thing that irked me that people were saying, and I could have spoken up, but I didn't, is that some of the people were pointing out issues where it was like 19th century London, but then all of a sudden buildings are magical. It's fantasy. Also, last time I checked, Oath is not a real place. I don't know. I feel like I could totally see this falling under like magical realism over fantasy, but like they were being so critical about that, and let me vibe, okay? I had a fun time. Let me stay oblivious. Stop bringing up valid points about what's going on in this book, because I don't want to hear it, because I had such a good time. Anyway, I feel like a lot of people really like being super critical in book clubs, and I don't like listening to criticism on books that I like. Even though I also like to hate on certain books. Not this one. This one, I like it, and I'm just gonna ignore everything everyone said. Also, I feel like a lot of people talked about like the whole enemies to lovers thing. Y'all have read The Hating Game, right? If you're gonna hate on a book, hate on The Hating Game, not this masterpiece. Another thing brought up in book club was the book we are reading next. And you will never guess what book it is. Guys, I had already said I was reading this book next. So that's actually amazing that they picked out this book, because I already have it. Now, anyway, moving on to the Brothers Hawthorne. Okay, so like I haven't even read 30 pages. But I'm going to tell you what I think. I brought up the Inheritance Games series before, but I didn't really say what it is, so I'll give you a little synopsis now. Basically, in the first book, we have our main character, Avery, who I think she's 16, around that age. And she's like a normal girl in high school, kind of poor, like doesn't have a lot of money. When a billionaire dies, and instead of leaving all of his money to his family, he leaves all of his money to Avery. She had never met him before, yet he left all of his money to her. But there's like the stipulation that she has to live in his mansion with his family for a whole year. And the family is not very happy with that, obviously. They thought they were, you know, getting billions of dollars, and they get not very much. In order to get the inheritance, she has to stay there for a full year and live there and sort of become a celebrity overnight. But the book is filled with puzzles and like a lot of really fun things, and it kind of has like that dark academia feel to it, but it's not like super dark. It just gives off that. Kind of like the first Knives Out. It kind of gives off like those vibes. Huge house. There's secret tunnels. And there's puzzles. Everyone's also just trying to figure out why he left his riches to Avery and like not his family. I didn't realize how much I like missed this world until I like started reading this book. Because I read the third book right when it came out. And so like it's been a full year since I've read it and really thought about the series. It's so good. Like automatically already being a part of this. Also, there's a little bit of like a love triangle in the first 3 books. Well, it's not like a big plot in the first book, but it comes on later. And I'm not going to spoil it for you, like who she ends up with. But I will say I'm a Grayson girl. But in this book follows Grayson and Jameson, and the first 3, I don't have them with me, so I cannot fact check this right now, but I'm pretty sure they were just in Avery's point of view the whole time. So it's kind of interesting, you know, reading from the guys' perspectives, because I also just love all of the Hawthorne brothers. There are 4 of them, and they're all just so fun. And I wonder if we're ever going to get like Xander or Nash's point of view, because those are the other 2 brothers that are not involved in the love triangle. Anyway, I'm gonna continue to read and hopefully like finish this book soon. I feel like I'm saying that statement a little prematurely because I do in fact have like 450 pages left. So, rephrasing soon-ish. Oh, in less than a week is the goal. I finished it. This was the 75th book I finished this year, which brought me to my reading goal. I keep seeing people rate this book 3 stars, which is not bad, but it's not good. You know, it's sort of that like in the middle, you don't love it, you don't hate it kind of book, and I have to disagree with those reviews. I really like this. This is probably a 4-star read for me. I don't know, I keep seeing people say this is a spin-off book, but in my head, when I see spin-off, I think, oh, you can read it without reading the first 3 books, and you can definitely not do that. I like the vibe of this world so much. It just makes me happy to be a part of this world again and see how the brothers interact. I don't understand why people that rated like the first 2 books 5 stars are rating this one 3. Like, my brain can't comprehend that because it's giving the same vibes. I mean, there's a little bit less romance in here, but I don't think it's, like, that big of a deal. Instead of there being, like, one central mystery that surrounds Tobias Hawthorne, there's 2 different storylines going on, one with Jameson and one with Grayson. And I liked it. I really liked it. I don't get why people are rating it 3 stars when I think this is amazing. So now I'm going to start this book, Assistant to the Villain by Nicole Maehrer. And I have made it a habit to not read the backs of books before I read them, so we're not going to do that, kind of go in blind here. But there was a lady at Barnes & Noble who said that this is a very chill fantasy. It's not like super high stakes, and it's just really cute. So I'm excited for that. Anyway, I'm going to get started. I'll let you know everything that goes on up in here. I'm halfway through. Oh my gosh, I'm loving this, actually. Like, this is brilliant, breathtaking. But I was looking on, like, Goodreads, and, like, the majority of people disagree with me, which... But immediately when I go on Goodreads, it, like, keeps promoting 1-star reviews for this book. Like, someone said, like, a Christian youth pastor, this book is uncomfortably unfunny. That's kind of funny. How they stated that, but I personally am really enjoying this book. When I see this cover, I assumed it was gonna give off more of The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune, or kind of like more of a Roald Dahl type vibe. Just because like Kingsley being here, I was like, oh, they're gonna be like, it's gonna give off Trolls vibes or something like that. Just for some reason in my head, looking at the cover, that made sense to me, and I didn't think they were gonna be human. But the characters are human, and this is a romantasy. I just didn't know this was a fantasy romance. I have been underlining quite a few lines because I'm obsessed with the villain. And that's his name, actually. I think that's so fun that they just call him the villain. Also, the villain is totally Henry Cavill. Right? There's not a clear description as to what the villain looks like. We just know that he's good looking. So Henry Cavill. Like, that's the only thing that makes sense to me. I went on Pinterest to see if there was like any fan art of like what I should be imagining him looking like, and there isn't. So he's the go-to, is he not? I don't know. I'm having such a good time reading this. Like, I genuinely just feel happy reading this book. And I'm reading it at a fairly quick rate compared to the other 2 books I read this week, so that is a fantastic sign. Now I'm gonna keep going. I fully intended on finishing this book today, but college sucks, and that's not gonna happen. Another little side note, I will complain about college every chance I get, but if you tell me you like my school's rival more than my school, war, man, war. I just finished Assistant to the Villain, and I didn't like the ending. I really enjoyed reading this book. I was having such a good time, and I was like, this book is awesome. And then the ending happened, and I was like, the ending was just like super rushed, and I feel like she had this idea, and she's like, this is gonna be epic, but we all make mistakes. That's okay. I feel like now I have to give it a 3-star, just because the ending really just ruined it for me. And back when I was taking ballet, we were always told, if you do 18 beautiful pirouettes and then fall out of them, that's all people are going to remember, you falling out. They're not going to remember the 18 beautiful turns you just did. And yeah, I have to agree. Like, now all I'm thinking about is how I didn't like the ending of this book, even though I loved the beginning and middle. Ugh, so frustrating. I think the overall idea is fun and good, and I like the romance for the most part. But yeah, that ending just makes me a little bit upset. Now, circling back to all the books I read in this video, my thoughts on Divine Rivals hasn't really changed, but I've seen a couple more reviews on the brothers Hawthorne. But I know some people were like upset about one of the brothers not having like a super intense plot, but this book really focuses on like their mental journey, their emotional growth. Yeah, so we have a 5, a 4, and a 3. Great. All right, I have to wrap this up like right now because I'm an idiot and decided to join 4 clubs and have to leave for one of them. But I really hope you like this video. If you want to like, comment, or subscribe, that would be very much appreciated. Yeah, I'm gonna go to Taylor Swift Club now. Bye.